Release the Kraken!
Welcome back, fellow game designers. In the last one, we got it set up to where we can reload our level, but there are some issues that we need to resolve. So if we hit play here, awesome, we get everything loaded in, and our game manager and our canvas are on the do not destroy unload, which is good. If I go ahead and just win the game, we get points, awesome. And if I hit next mission, the new mission loads in, and you can see that our game manager and our canvas are still there. Our score is still there because we won. However, our asteroids did not get reset, and our buildings did not get reset. And if you look over here, the game actually didn't start. You can see that no asteroids are dropping, and our missions or our game started is not checked. If I check it, things will drop in. But the big question is, why did the game not start? And why did these not reset? All of these things are really the symptom of the same problem, which is when we finish the game, go ahead and just exit this. When we finish the game, we get the game over prompt, right? And our start function runs when we hit either retry, next mission, or play. Since all three of those are the same button and they call the same function, we're getting some overlap because if the game's over, it may check to see if the game has started. But if our values for our asteroids and our buildings are 0, when the new game starts, it's going to be triggering our check win condition, right? You can see how that firing could cause a problem since that happens at the beginning of the game. We want to have enough time between the pressing of the start button for our game manager to get all of the information on the reset before our check win condition actually fires. So pretty simple. We're going to just get rid of this part. Instead of checking if the game started, instead we are going to give a condition to display a start message. So I'm going to go ahead and say display start message. And we'll just say that's true for now. And of course it's red and angry because we haven't actually set that. So let's scroll up. And I'm going to go and just jump down here. We'll do a private bool. And this one is going to be display start message. And that will be false. All right. Now come on back down. And we are going to remove the update score. We'll actually do this a little bit later. And we should also set our asteroids and our buildings back to 0. So let's go ahead and do that. So number of asteroids, we'll set that to 0. That way we're starting off fresh. Number of buildings, we'll set that to 0. And we're going to come down just after our start game. We're going to have a new function. We're going to call this void display start message. Enter, put some braces on there. And in here, now the first thing we'll do is update the score. So we update score. We want to check to see if our display message is active. So check if message is active. And the thing we're going to use for our display message is actually going to be our default message here. So if our prompt text dot active in hierarchy, and we want this to be not. So if it's not active, so put exclamation point. So if our prompt text is not active in hierarchy, we're going to go ahead and set our prompt text to active. Dot set active. We'll set this to true. And then we want to set our prompt timer for however long it's going to run. So I'm going to do message timer, and we'll set that equal to our message delay. Now we don't have either of these yet, so we'll go ahead and just make those. Scroll back up. Let's go ahead and make our message timer. So private float message timer. We'll set that equal to 0. And then private float message delay, we'll set that one equal to 5 seconds. Looks good. Let's go ahead and go down. Here we go. So we'll reset our message timer. The next thing to do is to count down our time. So let's do count down time. And this is going to be our message timer minus equals time dot delta time. And then after it starts counting down, we want to check the condition for what we're going to display. So maybe when the first thing is it tells us what level we're at. And then it does like a countdown. And then, it gives us a send-off, like defend. So let's go ahead and set those up. Display start message. We'll say if message timer. And we'll say less than 5 seconds. And message timer is greater than or equal to 4 seconds. Then we're going to run the timer. Now you might be wondering why do it between 5 seconds and 4 seconds? And the reason for that is actually pretty simple. As our timer is counting down, let's say it starts at 5 and it subtracts, say, maybe 0.001 every tick, then on the next cycle, we're going to get 4.998, right? And then on the next cycle, we're going to have 4.997, and then whatever. And it's going to continue this way until, it's at about 4, right? So we have all those numbers in between 5 and 4. So that's what we're actually checking. So that amount of time between those two numbers. So if we're between 5 and 4, then we're going to display our prompt text. So we're going to say prompt text dot get component. We want the text mesh pro GUI. And we're going to set text. And this one's going to just say what level we're on. So for now, we're going to do level 1. Okay. And then we're going to do else if. And our condition is going to be about the same. So let's go ahead and just copy our condition. Except this time, instead of being between 5 seconds and 4 seconds, we're going to be between the next group, which will be 4 seconds and 3 seconds, right? Because we'll be at 4 and then 4 point something, or then 3 point something, 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 and then so on. So I'm going to take that. I'll grab the prompt text here. So now, instead of saying level 1, maybe I'm going to say the time. We'll do a countdown from 3. So we'll say 3. And then I'll copy the else if. Paste that in. And now we're going to be between 3 seconds and 2 seconds. And we're going to display the message 2. And then next, we're going to go ahead and do between 2 seconds and 1 second. And we're going to display 1. And then next, we're going to say if it is between 1 second and 0 seconds, we want to have our, hoorah message. So we'll say defend. Hey. And then lastly, else if our message timer is less than 0, then put some braces on there. We want to remove our prompt text. So we get our prompt text dot set active. And that's going to be false. Next, we're going to turn off our display message. So display start message. We'll set that to false. And then finally, we're going to start the game. So we're going to do game started. We'll set that to true. Okay. Let's double check, make sure I don't have any errors here. Oh, that should be F. All my Fs are in place. Good. And now I'm going to go ahead and display the start message. Can I go down to my update here? And just before our condition, we're going to say if display message, then we are going to display our message. Display message. There we go. And this one is a function. All right, looks good. We'll go ahead and just save. Scroll up, make sure we're good to go. So when we hit start, we should display our message. Everything should get cleared, and it should drop us into the display message condition. So I'll go into our game here. So we'll go ahead and hit play. And once I hit the play button, we should get level 1, 3, 2, 1, defend! And it drops us into start. Fantastic. Let's go ahead and see what happens if we win. So let's win real quick. Everything stops. I have some points. Next mission. It loads us in. Look at that. We get our countdown, and our buildings are updated. Awesome. If I lose this time, and I get to retry, I lose my score, which is good. Buildings are at 0, which they should be. And then I should get a complete reset for 10, no score, countdown, defend. So the cycle is working. Awesome. Now we just need more levels, right? So let's go ahead and just exit out of here. And let's go ahead and create our next level. So I'm going to grab my level down here. I'm going to duplicate it using Control-D. And here's our level 2. Let's go ahead and open up our level 2. So double click it. And it looks exactly the same. All of our stuff is the same. Let's go ahead and make it look different. I'm going to go ahead and just go to our scene view here. And I'm going to grab a skyscraper and press the F key to kind of zoom in real quick. And let's make some different building arrangements. Maybe this building's over here. I'll duplicate Control-D to make a couple more buildings. You know, whatever's going to make this level a little bit different, you know. And then on my spawner, instead of having 10 asteroids to defend, maybe I have 15. So I'll go ahead and just set 15 asteroids there. Okay. And then real important, because on our level 2, you can see that we have our game manager and our canvas. But we already have one that doesn't get destroyed on load. So we really should remove this. So I'm going to go ahead and just delete the game manager from our second level. And you can tell that I'm on level 2 because up here it says level 2. So I'll go ahead and just hit delete on that. Okay, clear that off. And now when we load in, we should, because we're carrying our game manager in from our previous level, that should be fine. I'm going to also go up to our build settings here. So File, Build Settings. We want to add our level 2 to our scene. I'm just going to go ahead and drag it in. There's our level 2, and you can see it gets a new index for 1. Go ahead and close that. And now we need to set up the actual transition inside of our code. So I'm going to jump back to level 1. Make sure we save. And then in our code, right now if we scroll over to our start button, or our start game here, you can see that our load scene, it just says level 1. Well, that's not really handy. We want this to be able to update dynamically. So it'll check what level to load and just kind of grab it for us. Because we can have as many levels as we want, right? So let's change this. Let's go up and create some variables. So I'm going to create a private string. And this one's going to be my level name. And I want this actually to be not just one level name, because we can store a bunch of level names, right? So instead of having just one variable, I'm going to create what's called an array. Now, an array usually has some square brackets, and then you put a number in there. And that lets you know exactly how many copies of this we're going to create. However, since I don't know exactly how many levels we're going to have, you could make 3 levels, you could make 20 levels, right? Each time you make a new level, you have to then count them and figure out how many you have. If you don't know how many you have, you can create what's called an open-ended array. So I'm going to go ahead and instead of putting the brackets outside of the level name, I'm going to put them outside of the string, like so. And this tells Unity, or tells our program, that this is going to be an open-ended array. And now I can set this equal to, and I'll put some braces on here, these little curly braces, and a semicolon. And then in here is going to go however many levels we have. So I'm just going to go ahead and put quotes, and then do level 1. And then comma, and then level 2. Very simple. We don't need a comma after the second one. That's fine. And these are indiced or indexed in order of 0 and up. So our first one is 0 and our next one is 1. And that's important because if we go back to our game settings here, or our build settings, you can see that level 1 is currently at index 0 and level 2 is currently at index 1. Okay, so I'm going to jump back in. And now we have to create something to figure out what number we're going to get out of our box here. So I'm going to go ahead and do private, and this is going to be an integer, and this is going to be level index. And I'm going to set it to 0 because that's our first one. And that's pretty much it. We just have to now call these inside of our code down here. So right down here in our load scene, instead of doing these quotes here, we're going to do level name, and then we'll put the square brackets on. And inside of here, we're going to give it the level index. So for example, if I put 0 in there, it's going to give me the string name of level 1. If I put 1 in there, it'll give me the string name of level 2. Awesome. So now how do we change the number? That's the big part, right? Well, that's going to happen down here inside of our win condition. So if we win the game, so down here under our number of asteroids 0, this is how we win the game. So inside here, I'm going to go ahead and hit enter. And I'm going to say, go to next level, right? And the first thing we want to check before we update our index is to make sure our index isn't bigger than the number of levels that we have. If you go outside of your array, you can cause some problems. You break your code, you create memory leaks, there's some issues, right? So we want to make sure that we don't do that. So I'm going to do if level index is less than our level name dot length. This is going to give us the size of our array. And we want to do the size of our array minus 1. The reason for that is the size of our array is currently 2, right? But the array is indexed 0, 1, and then so on, right? So while there are numerically 2 objects in there, the largest number we can use is 1. So it's always 1 less than the actual amount of things in there, right? It gets a little bit confusing if you're not used to arrays, but simply put, whatever the size of it is, it's the size minus 1, and that'll get you the number that you can use. So that's what we're doing, the size minus 1. So if we're not bigger than our array, then we can say our level index plus plus. So that means we can increase the size of our index. Then we want to also adjust our message here on our play button. So if we can go to the next level, we want to say go to next level. So I'm going to go ahead and just steal this piece here, Control X, and then I'll just back this up by going up and hitting delete. And I'll put that down here. Okay, so that'll let us go to the next mission. However, the else of this, if we are too big for our array, we should start back at the beginning. So we want to set the index, so level index, we want to set that back to 0. That's going to give us our first level. And then we also want to change our button here. So go ahead and just copy that, and then paste. And then instead of saying next mission, we should just say, start from the beginning or play again, something like that. So I'm going to go ahead and just put play again. So play again. Awesome. Go ahead and save it. So this should get us able to reset or go to the next mission. Let's go ahead and give that a shot. Okay, so play. We got level 1, so far so good. 2, 1, defend, and everything's dropping in. If I go ahead and just win, well, bam, level complete. I got a count. Score's changed. Next mission. Okay, so level got dropped in. Our counts got updated. That's good. We kept our score, but it still said level 1. So that means that we have to update our message real quick. So let's jump back out. We'll go to our code, scroll up to our display message. Here we are. So right here, you can see on our display message, we actually wrote in level 1. So let's go ahead and change that. We're just going to add our level index here. So level name, put our square brackets on there, and then our level index. There we go. And that should get us rolling. Let's jump back in, save it, hit play. All right, so we should say play, and then we should be on level 1. We are. Counting down, defend. And let's go ahead and win. If I win, mission complete, scores updated, next mission. Okay, level 2. Building counts updated, asteroids updated. We have a score because we won. Awesome. And what happens if we win again? Mission complete, and you can see it says, look, play again. Do we go back to the beginning? We do. It drops us back into level 1. Awesome. We have a game loop. It's completed, right? What happens if we lose? If I remove all the buildings, mission failed. We lost our score. That's supposed to happen. We hit retry. We're back on level 1. Awesome. What happens if I win? Mission complete. We'll go on to level 2. What happens if I lose on level 2? If I lose on level 2, it should have me retry level 2. Does it? I'm on level 2 again. Yes. Our score got deleted because we lost. That makes sense. Perfect. So we have a continuous game loop. All we got to do is add new levels, right? So we're going to add one more level, and we're going to put it to bed. Go ahead and grab your level 2. We'll go ahead and do Control-D to duplicate. And check it out. It just automatically updates the number for us. Amazing. Go ahead and open it. And inside my level 2, maybe I'll do something different. I'll rearrange some of the buildings. Just kind of change how this goes. Control-D, I'll duplicate a couple buildings. We'll see how densely packed I can make this city here. Okay, so now we have a lot more buildings, and we should take our spawner and say maybe we have 20 asteroids to beat. Cool. We'll save it. So inside of here, build settings, drag in our level 3, jump into our code, scroll up, and we want to add the name to our list. So I'm going to hit comma, level 3. Save it, jump back in, hit play. Level 1, so far so good. I'm going to cheat. The game should start with me winning. Look at that, amazing. Level 2, I'm going to cheat. The game should start with me winning. Bam, level 3, awesome. And you can just rinse and repeat, add as many levels as you like, keep on going. Okay, so that's going to do it for this video. And the next one, we're going to go ahead and start building the assets for our buildings, our asteroids, and anything else we kind of want to put into here. Get this polished up and make it a complete game. Okay, so save your work. Hope you enjoyed it, and I shall see you next time. Hey guys, thanks for checking out my channel. Misty and I both thank you. If you enjoyed that video just watched, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe. Also, we're at 1,400 subscribers. Woo! If you have any suggestions for future videos, go ahead and leave them down in the comments. And if you want to keep up with me on Twitter, it's BruceRF1. That's also in the description. And if you want to support the channel, make it easier for me to make content for you, check out some of my merch or one of my books. But yeah, all that, again, is in the description. Check it out, and I shall see you next time.